I don't think it's ridiculous to say that the economy is the best part of an SMP. Setting up shops, trading with other players, flexing them bands of diamonds, all of these are integral to an SMP, at least in my experience. But Minecraft economies aren't stable. They boom, they crash, and they often leave newer players to the SMP out in the cold with no way to participate. So how could they possibly be a stand-in for real-world economic problems that have real-world consequences? And how could they influence anyone's beliefs about those problems? The reality is there's more of a crossover than you might think, but for that, you're gonna need to understand the different types of Minecraft economy. The first type is the most simple and the most common. A commodity currency. Usually this is in the form of diamonds, though other useful items like netherite or gold get used as well. This is an economy where the thing being traded has what's called intrinsic value. It has value of its own due to either being rare, commonly used, or difficult to make or acquire. A real-world example of this would be wampum, tiny labor-intensive beads that were used by Native Americans for religious reasons, as well as currency before settlers arrived and eventually started mass-producing them. Because they were no longer difficult to acquire, they lost their value and stopped being used as a currency. This next one you might be familiar with if you're a fan of Minecraft economy videos, and that is the security currency. These are written books that hold the promise of being redeemable at a central bank for something valuable, like nether stars. These are easier to produce than commodity currencies and allow for economic growth beyond what the supply of the thing that is backing the currency actually is, because securities often go a long time without being cashed, allowing for a gap between issued notes and actual supply. A real-world example of this would be at the end of the Civil War, when money that was issued to help pay for the war could be redeemed for gold at a fixed rate by the US government. Now, imagine your server uses a nether star currency. However, the server's bank gets a little too greedy and issues a few too many securities, way more than it can pay. Someone notices and tells the rest of the players, who flock to the bank so as to redeem their securities before the bank runs out. This bank, with total economic collapse imminent, suspends the ability to redeem your written books until more nether stars can be farmed. So you keep trading the books until you're so used to using them that you stop trying to redeem them altogether. Then, the bank bans everyone that still wants the currency to be backed with nether stars and quietly removes the ability to redeem the books entirely. Congratulations, you now have a fiat currency. Fiat currency is any currency that lacks any backing or intrinsic value. A good Minecraft example would be emeralds. Emeralds have a use in trading with villagers, but even then, that's still usage as currency. If a server adopts emeralds for all player shops, they're still using a commodity that has no intrinsic value except what is placed on it by the NPCs. Barring beacons and decorative purposes, emeralds are completely a fiat currency. Now, very few servers ever use emeralds as currency, because in order to make them work, in order to make them viable, the in-game government has to impose strict rules against trading with villagers, essentially counterfeiting the emeralds so as to prevent inflation, while at the same time maintaining and enforcing that they are to be accepted as valuable by everyone on the server. It runs into the problems I described for the other currencies, but worse, they become useless, lose their intrinsic value as commodities, can be produced rapidly with unlimited supply, and require force to stay relevant as a currency. This is not unlike the Federal Reserve dollars that the United States uses now. For example, they have the paper that they're printed on. That linen blend is technically a commodity with intrinsic value, but when defacing or recycling the bill is a federal crime, that loses all usefulness, and so it becomes a complete fiat currency. But that's not the biggest issue. See, a great thing about diamond currency that many players realize, even if subconsciously, is that it can't be inflated as easily as all of the other useful commodities. Iron, gold, emerald, lapis, almost any other valuable item you could think of is pretty easily farmable. But because diamonds aren't, and because they are highly coveted for their usefulness in the early game, they make for a great currency. For a while. Eventually, diamonds begin to suffer from the same problem that all of the other farmable currencies do. Those that can afford the best gear go caving deep underground and extract diamonds extremely rapidly. The economy starts to tank with the influx of fortune-mined diamonds, and things get expensive. Newer players with less diamonds are priced out of the economy because their shops either get bought out or ignored in favor of efficiently collecting resources solo with endgame gear. The new players stay poor and can't participate. Now, on a couple servers that I've played on, I've come up with a temporary solution. What if instead of using diamonds as a currency, we use the ore instead? This, coupled with a public source of Silk Touch books for new players, means that prices stay low even into the endgame because caving doesn't run inflation level numbers anymore and automated machines don't yield the ore. Really, though, it's a band aid on the problem because some players will always go mine enough to have a surplus. The thing is, when I do occasionally find myself to be that player, I realize I have a choice. I can raise the prices of my goods and services to keep growing my wealth at an exponential pace, or I can choose to keep my prices the way they are and accept linear growth to my diamond supply. Because I have this choice, I in effect have complete control over the entire economy. If I raise my prices, other shops have to raise their prices for their owners to afford to buy at mine. And by simply not raising my prices, I can keep the prices of other shops lower, effectively increasing my own wealth by maintaining the buying power of my own diamonds instead of dropping it with inflation. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. It's a video game, it's not real life, things are more complicated in the real world. So, of course, I did a bit of digging. In the most recent years of data available, corporate profits have been the dominant cause of unit price increase, with a 54% share in inflation as per stats from the National Income and Product Accounts and the Bureau of Economic Analysis. The reason things are getting more expensive as of late is not because of increased production cost, but rather because corporations have so much money that they don't value it as much. They keep raising prices because their numbers aren't doubling fast enough. Had these companies collectively decided to not increase prices, prices wouldn't have gone up. There was no reason to raise prices. The Fed hadn't yet started increasing money production because this inflation wasn't started yet. So, why did they do it? Well, it was just because they wanted more diamonds. So, to recap, no matter what currency you use, raising prices is always a choice and one that you can say no to. And funnily enough, Minecraft illustrates how it is very possible to just have too much money and what the effects of that can be. Thank you all so much for watching. This is a video that I've wanted to make for a little while, and I'm really passionate about this subject. I've been playing on SMPs for I want to say my entire life. And it started with like just playing with my sister. And it always comes down to the choice, do I raise my prices or do I not? And this is just something that I've wanted to say. We live in a society where prices are increasing all the time. And I wanted to make a video saying that that could not be the case. So again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.